How's it going, everyone? We are going to learn Python so we can start creating games with Python Arcade. Let's start off with integers. So first off, we're going to create a variable. Now these are what you could just think of as, we'll go like 100. These are just boxes that we tell the computer, hey, this is important. And we name them, as you can see, age, after what we want to go in the box. For instance, if I wanted to have 75 steaks, I wouldn't call it cheese and say, I want 75 steaks. And that's what I'm thinking, right? That doesn't make sense. You'd be like, hey man, I want steaks, and there's going to be 75 of them. There you go. Now you know, okay, well that makes sense. As a developer reads it, it's okay, steaks equals 75. There's 75 steaks. I get that. That makes sense, right? But we want to make sure that we name those variables after essentially what we are putting in it. So age is going to be a number, that's 100. Steaks, that could be anything, but we want it to be integers, so it's going to be 75 steaks. We could have steaks equals yummy yum steak if we wanted to and have it equal a string, but for this one, because we're working with integers, it will equal, hey, steaks equals 75. So we would have 75 steaks. It's just important to name your variables something that makes sense for what you're putting in. Like I said, if you wanted it to count all the cheese or basically the health, your HP level, you wouldn't call it feet and say, yeah, man, I got 75% feet. That doesn't make sense. You call it health, HP bar, or health status, whatever you want to call it, and that would equal the number that you want. So we have what's called age, and we can print that out one of two ways. Printing will allow you to put it onto the terminal so you can test things out, see what's going on. You can create terminal games actually just like that by having yes, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 have options. You can create a lot of cool things actually with just the terminal. Not graphically impressive, obviously, because it's just the terminal, but you can still create really cool things. We'll create cool games with Python Arcade, but for now, let's just print this out and we'll say, hey, age is, and you can do this one of two ways. That's the cool thing. First of all, we'll put this here just because we want it to look real nice. Put a little space there. You can do comma age, and that will work. You can print out that and it'll work no problem. Now, in order to run the code, you can do it one of two ways. Right now I'm on Ubuntu, so it's Linux, Python 3, and we'll do vids.py. That will, if I hit enter, that will run the code. See, I run it, there it is, age is 100. We printed it out on screen, easy peasy. Now, you can also just come up here and hit this little play button. Run Python file. It'll do the same thing. It will run it for you, boom, there you go. Now you don't have to worry about remembering it. I always just type it in, you can hit clear, but I always type it in. It is what it is. That's just how I do it. I think on Windows, it's just Python. You don't have to put Python 3. I think on Mac OS, it's probably just Python as well. You don't have to put Python 3. On my version of Linux, using Ubuntu, I don't know why I had to say Python 3. There it is. I had to do it. I think we're on Python 3.12 or something now. I don't know. But you got to put Python 3 if you're using Linux. If you're not, don't worry about it. Just put Python. It should work just fine. Or just hit the button. That works too. So now we have this age. So let's say we had, we're actually going to do health. And let's say you have 100 health. Okay, so we could print out right now and say health. Sorry, we'll do F, and I'll show you why. We'll put an F there and then put our quotes and do health. Yeah, we'll just do that. Because we just wanted to show the health, right? And we'll put curly brackets inside of the quotations. That's important. When you're doing it this way, we are taking the information and we're going to show it inside of the string itself instead of it being at the end. Like right here, when we ran this, it just said, okay, age is, and it put the age there. Here, it's like what you call a template literal. It's literally inside of this string, right? You can see it, it works perfect. You can do whatever you want to it, but it's inside of the string. Pretty cool. So we can do health equals, and all we would do is put health. See, we are taking this variable, this box that's holding our information, and we're saying, hey man, give me the value of health, right? What is currently inside health? So when you think of a dictionary, you're going to go look for a word and you're going to get the description. That's the same thing we're doing. We want health, we want the value. We want age, we want the value. So you find the word and then you read the description, right? You can think of it just like going through a dictionary. I know no one's probably picked up a dictionary, but you get the premise of what I'm saying. You pick up the book and you're like, oh, I'm looking for, I don't know, what's the hand in the dictionary, and then you find it and it'll give you a description, right? But you call it on that key word, and that key word here is health. So we call health, and health will give us 100 because that is the description. That is the value of what is being held inside the box. Pretty sweet. So now when we run this, make sure you save. Gotta save. If you don't save, it's not gonna work. It's gonna run nothing. So make sure you save the file. I have it set to Control S. I'm sure you can too. Make sure you save. You could file save if you want. You just go file and save, but just make sure you save it. Otherwise it won't work. And we'll do vids.py. And there we go. Now we have age is 100 and age is 100. Or sorry, health is 100. All right, pretty cool. What if we wanted to do something else though? What if we want to say, okay, well, we have health and we want to, I don't know, do, you were shot by an arrow. So we could go arrow damage equals, we'll do 10. Now the reason I wrote it like this with an underscore is because Python is snake case. So snake, if I could do it, case, there you go. Looks like that. Some of the other languages, Java, JavaScript, C++, C, Rust maybe, I can't remember honestly. I think Lua is a little more free. You kind of do what you want. A lot of times with Lua, it's like a lightweight script you can embed it. It doesn't matter. Point is, in Python, you use snake case, which is each new word where you would put like a space, you put an underscore. Inside JavaScript, it would look like this, snake case. It uses camel casing, which is every other, or like after the first word, every next new word is an uppercase. And so, you know, a lot of other languages do that. Python uses snake casing. So instead of it being like, oh, you know, where you would normally say fruit basket, you know, okay, I have fruit basket, you would get rid of that space and make it an underscore. Now fruit basket would equal apples or something, right? So that's one way to handle, that's how we handle variables inside of Python. That will change, that won't change, but we will use different casing depending on what we're doing. For instance, if we start working with classes, you'll notice we call the class as a capital word. So if you're going to have a class called hero, it won't be hero underscore. It'll be starts, the first letter is capitalized, and every letter after that would be capitalized as well. But for right now, we're going to use snake case. That is what Python does. That is the way to do it in Python. It is snake case. Will it work if you don't? Yes. Will you be made fun of? Probably. Just better to keep it as that. I mean, you could do, you know, next HP equals 6, and we could print that out. We could just do print, then we go next HP, run this just to prove that you can do it however you want, 6, right? But it is convention and just how you do it. You do snake case for Python. Them's the rules. I don't make them. I just follow them. It is what it is. There's a lot of gatekeepers in this world. Just do the snake case. It's not a big deal. So now we have arrow damage. Now that we have arrow damage, we can do something to health. For instance, and this is very simple working. We're not working with like classes or objects, you know, or object-oriented programming. Really, we're just working with some variables, and we can change some stuff around with integers. I just want to make sure you get. Let's start off at the foundations with integers. These are the primitive data types. We got floats, bools, or booleans, strings, and none types. So let's see. If we want to say, okay, well, let's say you got shot by an arrow. You could do, we'll do print, let's say, new health. Right, we could do that. And inside of new health, we can do something actually really cool, right? We could do it one of two ways. We could come over here and say, we'll say received damage, damage, basically just received damage equals, and we can do health minus arrow damage, right? And then we can come over here, make this a formatable string, and go, okay, well, we are going to have rec damage, received damage. I just messed that up. Rec damage. There we go. Rec damage. And if we look, we run it again, we'll see the new health is 90. Well, that's pretty cool. So now we've done some arrow damage, and all we had to do was take health and minus arrow damage, which gave us 90. That's pretty awesome. And we could save that into a variable. You could also run this We could do this and just do, okay, well, what if we have this and we just want to put this here. We don't want a variable for it. We just want to run it just like that. We save it and we run it again and we get 90. I would just say, sorry, I was getting a call. I don't need a call right now. Okay, I would just say it's better to put it inside of the variable and just have it be easy. That way, if you want to change something later on, for instance, you want to have a weaker arrow, or maybe you just want to do, oh, that plus 5. We'll do plus 5 too, right? So now we run it. We'll run rec damage. It just allows you to be more. You can change what you want to do without having to change every single line of code, right? That's the beautiful thing about variables or functions and these things that we're going to work with is if you just want to change, I like to receive damage, but I want it to be a little bit more or a little bit less. We can do, okay, well, it's going to be health minus arrow damage plus 5. So now we run it. Oh, I cleared, sorry. Now we run it, and now we got 95, 25. Now we have 95 because we added 5 at the end. So it's like, okay, now what if we wanted it to be like a little extra, right? We're like, oh, well, we could just like minus 5 and just run that again. And now it's, okay, now it's 85. Oh, that makes sense because the first time was 10 damage. The next time we added 5, and then we just subtracted the 5. And so now we're at 85 health, right? So that's one thing that is cool about just doing it this way. You can kind of consolidate what you want to do into a single variable and change it and move, and then you can just call that variable right here. Rather than this whole line starting to grow and grow and grow and become so big to handle, just modularize your code. Break it up, make it simple, and piece them together like this. Put them inside a variable, and then we can call it. And from there, if we wanted to do, for instance, if we go back over here and we just print health again, you'll notice that we're not keeping state, right? We're not actually holding on to the damage. When we print it again, it's 100. It's only while we run the program that it's going on because it's going to run through and then stop. And then at the end, once we've done the damage, it just goes back to being 100 again because we haven't been keeping track. We were just temporarily doing it and printing it inside each line. We will handle like managing state. That way you can actually have heroes and create terminal games and, have them take damage and heal each other and those types of things. No problem. But for right now, I just wanted to show you that we can start to work with integers and do a lot with them. Variables and integers, that's going to be big. Variables on their own, just working with these right here, that is huge. So if we wanted to do, I think the last thing we'll do on this one, and just say, okay, we want to get a name. So we'll say name equals, and we'll say input, we'll say enter your name, because we want to get the user's name, right? And I'm going to tie this into integers, so just give me a second. And once they answer that, that name will be saved right here into name. You can think of it just reading from right to left. Once the user is prompted, this will not go away until we enter something. So it's going to be expecting a string. And so as long as we answer with some sort of name, should be no problem. If we answer with the number, it'll just be like the string version of a number. So it'd be like quotation 5, which, we can handle that later, obviously. But right now we just want to have a name. And once we get the name, we could do something with that name. So we could say, okay, we'll print F because we want to print it inside of these lines. We'll say, all right, well, hero, let's put hero, that's fine. And we will go with name. And that will print their name. Now, right there, right at the end of the curly brackets, we can do backslash, which is right above your enter key, or like return or whatever it is. But it's right above, for me, right below backspace, and right above enter is the backslash n. That will mean new line. So it'll actually go on to the next line and we can print something else there. So we'll say, okay, we want the hero name, and then we'll do hero health. There we go. Health. I guess we can just leave it lowercase. We don't need to be crazy with the capitalization. Okay, and we could do the same thing here. We could do health. Okay, well, that's pretty sweet. Now when we print this, we're going to get a little summary of our new hero. We'll go over here, run it, and we have, let's enter name, and we'll just go cool. No, you know what? We'll do Spud. Okay, well, hero, name Spud, and the hero health is 100. We could add over here if we want. We could just do hero name. We want it to be real fancy, and we could hit clear down here to make things simple, and we can run it again. Enter name, we'll call him Spuds. And now we have a hero name of Spuds and a hero health of 100. Okay, so as we progress on, I promise you, we're going to move on and we're going to get into things where we can actually create objects, little hero objects, and do things with them. And then we'll get into the game engine, and it'll be really cool. But I want you to understand just the fundamentals as we're working just through integers, and then we'll get into floats and bools and strings. It'll go faster as we go, but we create a variable and we store information in them. We can do things to those variables, and once we get into functions, we can use those to basically be the actions upon what we want to do with the information that we stored in a variable. So we save it with our variables. Basically, we want H to be 100, health to be 100, arrow to damage equal 10, and then we could do things. Health minus arrow damage minus 5 more, because why not? It's a bigger arrow. And we could do all of those things as we progress, and that's just with integers. So hang in there, guys. It's going to be a fun ride, and we'll see you guys in the next one.